What's up, Dolphins, and welcome back into another edition of Dolphins HQ here on the floor at the Indiana Convention Center for Scouting Combine 2025. As you can see, it's a very, very busy day. All kinds of folks getting their work in, and we're going to take up no more of your time because we have a big-time guest on the show today. Let's go ahead and welcome in Coach Mike McDaniel. Joining us today on a special episode of Dolphins HQ and the Drive Time Podcast, a man who needs no introduction, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. Coach, what's up, man?
But didn't you just introduce me?
You know, I got to say your name at least so that people know who we're talking to. Even though we're in a two-shot, they can see you.
Yeah, I feel that.
Got to bring you on.
I'm doing all right, man. We're just starting. We had our first evening of formal interviews with some players. It'll be night 2 of that. Just got a presser done, ready to roll, man.
I want to get into the story that a great beat writer on our beat, Marcel Louis-Jacques from ESPN, wrote about your days at Yale and working with Coach Henley. The one-handed catch story about him laying on the ground and you trying to pepper him with footballs to get him to make one-handed catches. And then the story that they write about, Marcel wrote about how he made a big one-handed catch to win a game. Just take me through kind of the creation of finding new ways, new inventive ways to make football players better at football.
Well, I think it's kind of like pattern recognition, and I always thought that there's I always thought there was a way to get players to see the game like the coach, and if you work on how you communicate what you're looking at, you look at how you frame stuff. I think to me that's the biggest thing is you're trying to get players in any way, shape, or form to be able to see the game the way you are, and that is an ever-evolving process that I have to act. That to me you're always working on, because you're trying to be the best for the players and for the organization, and to do that you have to improve. Otherwise, you'll get passed up by those you might be in front of.
And as your coaching staff develops and changes over the years, because, again, turnover in this league is very common, Bobby Slowick rejoins up with you here to get back to work with you. What does he bring to the coaching staff?
Man, what a fortunate opportunity we had in this situation, because realistically, Bobby Slowick is coming here to only add value, not taking any responsibility away from the other coaches, but you want to talk his working relationship with Frank Smith and their ability to present to me their opinions on when we get together and finalize the game plan. Bobby Slowick's ability to be in and out of the quarterback room, and his my firsthand knowledge of his ability to work with people in a constructive manner that is very comfortable for all parties. I already know how well he'll continue to work with Coach Bevel and to his play as well. So a really, really unexpected opportunity that I feel very fortunate, because there's 2 guys that I directly trained to be a coordinator type role in the National Football League, are Mike LaFleur and Bobby Slowick, and to have one of those guys is monumental when the game is about how many people or a collection of people seeing things the same way.
Continuity on the defensive side of the football is going to be new for you here. The first time we'll have the same DC in back-to-back seasons. How excited are you about the stability that provides?
I'm super excited because I felt a tangible shift last year during the season on when collectively the whole group got it.
Yeah.
And I'd felt that the year previous, and to be able to start in the off-season program closer to what I think it's all about, which is focusing on technique and fundamentals more so than anything. It just takes your whole pie of time allotment and significantly emphasizes and creates a much larger piece of the pie that is technique and fundamental development, which is ultimately what you want to do. Be that continuity, I'm very excited because I think it's the perfect storm of really, really liking schematically where we're at, and then guys being able to build upon something, which is a huge. That's what the offseason is about.
So let's go to special teams here real quick. So Coach Craig Ackerman's here. What made you attracted to the idea of bringing him in?
Well, first off, I had multiple people within my own staff, guys who don't typically recommend people aggressively speak on his behalf. Then, for me, seeing what he was able to do in Tennessee, and then how that ended, and then the time he spent in LA and being so close with so many guys there, I already felt like I had an idea who the guy was before I met him. But the nuts and bolts of why he's our special teams coordinator was because of how our working relationship was going, in my opinion, to excel.
So I tend to fixate on things here and there with my podcast especially, and one of the things I'm really into this year is the cyclical nature of the NFL and how we went through, the old prime running back of the Ricky Williams, Priest Holmes, Clinton Portis types of days to the 5,000-yard passers being like 4 or 5 guys in the league. Now it seems like we're kind of pivoting back more towards the running game. I'm curious where you view the league in that lens of the cyclical nature and where it is today with, the running game being so prevalent or maybe making a comeback a little bit.
Well, yeah, there's a confluence of issues. I think reactionary, the pass game, defensive coaches experiencing more pass game productivity than they're used to led to, there's a confluence of higher execution from a pass game standpoint, as well as more multiplicity in how teams approach every play pre-snap. People are motioning more and all that. So the league's uniformity in problem solving, how people are seeing what works and we kind of got a more consistent approach from defenses really this season. So that cyclical nature, I think, is a natural derivative of emphasis.
How does that adjust the way you view Tua going into a new season and how you construct your offense around your quarterback, the ultimate point guard, right? Because we saw him your first 2 years pitch the ball all over the lot. The air yard stat was, up there, which people seem to love. And this year it came back down to more like quick game and more quick execution of finding those quick checkpoints and, the quick progression that you talked about in your press conferences. How do you put that whole pie together and see what the best, approach is for Tua and how to construct it around him in 2025?
Well, I think each and every one of those philosophical decisions, the broad ones, are based upon all of the variables. And when you're talking about, the success that we had throwing long yardage football, teams were going to force us in this past season. I want to say the first 9 games, they played us very conservatively, and it wasn't until we played the Raiders where our execution and taking advantage of because what are they doing? They're just standing people further back pre-snap, giving you pre-snap yardage. Instead of throwing footballs at defenders, we choose to throw where they're not.
That makes sense.
But you have to execute it at a way that they feel threatened, so they stop giving you so much pre-snap depth. So to me, the evaluating all the circumstances where our strengths and weaknesses are, maybe you attack down the field more when your matchups are favorable from pass rush so you can protect a little bit longer, all of those things. My biggest thing for him is the execution of short and intermediate allows for long. If you don't want those deep pre-snap looks, make them pay for it, which is what our focus is all off season.
Coach, I'm going to have to do one quick personal thing right quick because I wanted to show my kids a little bit of love on the trip right here. I told them I would hold these up for Caroline and Cameron. My 2 kids drew me these pictures to take with me to Indianapolis because they're both going to miss me so very much. I wanted to close with that.
Those are awesome.
And this will be seen by them on YouTube. They're going to be fired up to see me and you and their drawing. So, Coach, appreciate your time today, man.
Well, it's awesome, and I'll just FaceTime my daughter. You're a great dad. That's a cool shout-out. And great job staying within the lines.
Yeah, can you tell which one's the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old?
Dude, it's an evolution.
It is.
It's an evolution.
They grow quick, man.
Yeah.
Coach, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Awesome. It was great.
Woo! Indianapolis, Indiana, baby. Scouting Combine 2025. The hay is in the barn, the work is done, the interviews are finished, the workouts are about to happen. But first, I want to go ahead and show you guys some of my favorite spots around town. Let's go and hit the city. Hey, you know what they say, coffee is not just for closers anymore, it's also for combine goers. My daily fueling station, the Coffee Den. Let's go check it out. You know, you can take the man out of South Florida, but you cannot take the coffee order out of the man. Doesn't matter how cold it is, iced coffee is always the way to go. Iced coffee, a little bit of vanilla flavor, 2 Splenda. That's what the combine runs on, man. Coach, how we doing?
Awesome.
Before we get into the combine coverage, Coach, I want to ask you about full transparency. I actually voted for Jordan Brooks for team MVP. He was just barely beat out Zach Sealer on my ballot, which who cares? But I did vote for JB. I thought he was awesome this year. I just want to get your perspective on what it's like coaching a guy like that who's kind of quiet, reserved, but also like a great leader, and then just a hell of a football player.
Yeah. I personally have a pretty cool story with JB. As coaches, you really you fall in love with players in the draft, right? And really, the likelihood of you being able to draft that player, I mean, it's a crapshoot. I mean, it's a very small percentage that your favorite guys as a position coach that you're actually going to get. But every year, you know, every single coach has his guy or his guys. And when Jordan was coming out, I was the assistant head coach and linebacker coach at the Rams, and Jordan Brooks, that draft class, that he was my guy. Insult to injury is that not only did we not get him, he goes to our division. So it was one of those things where I was like, God dang it, there was something about that kid I loved, and I wanted to coach him. Well, you know, he goes to another team, you keep it moving. Well, 5 years later, it's just crazy how the world works. I end up at Miami. He ends up in Miami, and unbelievable guy, really. I think he really grew this year I think he grew as a player, but I think he really grew as a leader. I think it was really cool for him. I don't even think that he realized that he had some of those qualities. And just a joy to be around. He's a true professional. He works his butt off every single day on the field, in the meeting room. Just does a phenomenal job and had a great year. And like I said, our goal is to improve on that and get him, as well as he played in 24, we got to take that next step in 25.
So when it comes to the on-field drills, the best tool in the football universe, in my opinion, is the football on a stick. What a great tool that invention was. Do you get to use that at all this week, or is it not for you?
I hate the football on a stick. It's just
opposing opinions.
It's just so lazy.
Sure,
you know?
I get you.
Get your butt on a knee, get your hand down, and physically snap the ball.
I learned something today that I like that.
No, you will never see me use a football on a stick.
Good to know. I'm never going to say that again. Then I'm not going to call it the best tool in the universe. When you are running those drills, what are you looking for guys in terms of how they move? Like what's the primary focus on?
We have 29 inside linebackers here, which you would like to think these are the 29 best inside linebackers in college football. They're all here. Hopefully they all work out, so then you can kind of compare guys, especially, you know, we do 6 drills, and most of those drills are to see linebacker-specific movements, skilled movements that they are asked to do when they play the game. So some of the drills maybe don't totally, you know, correlate to the game to what we ask guys to do when the ball snapped in a game. But we try to get, you know, realistic drills that are the closest thing to playing football, and to get all 29 of those guys doing it, and then you can kind of compare, you know, this guy really does this drill well compared to this. So it's an evaluation tool that I think, like I said, it's the early stages for us to get introduced to these players, and it's the fun part of the process, and it's only the beginning of the process for us.
How is it different for you being on the field compared to being, you know, in your office watching tape? Like, is there a pretty substantial difference there?
You talking about being on the field for the drills?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just even here at the Combine, we have such a limited access to the players. We get a 15-minute interview with the guys. That's it. And to truly find out about a guy in 15 minutes, it's hard. Now, when we go back, we'll be able to do Zoom meetings and stuff with guys and dig a little bit deeper. But the thing that I personally like about being on the field, I'm able to be around those guys on the field in a competitive situation, see how they tick, kind of see how they prep to get ready for the workout. That we got a little bit of downtime down there. I'll be able to walk over to a guy and steal a little bit more time individually with him, talking to him. So it's just personally I like, and they limit, there's only 6 or 7 coaches that are able to be down there. So I just think it's a great tool to be able to use just to be around those players a little bit more. And, the vetting process is constant until, we draft. So it's just another opportunity to be able to be around these players one more time, really one-on-one.
Competition's always a great thing, right? Always good to go out
Absolutely.
and compete. Dolphins linebacker coach and run game coordinator Joe Barry. Coach, we appreciate your time today, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, time for an annual tradition. We're going to check out one of my favorite spots here in downtown Indianapolis. It's called the Social Cantina. Some of the best Tex-Mex you can find really anywhere, and I'm talking about South Florida or otherwise. So, Social Cantina, let's go check it out. It's like 600 feet from the convention center, right down the road. Come here every single year. It's a tradition, man. The Diet Pepsi, the combine runs on Diet Pepsi. Lettuce, ground beef, cheese, some pico, side of rice. That's all I require. Flour tortillas. I'm a corn guy. Flour tortilla. Yeah, get in there. Dig in, man. Here, take a bite, camera. Let's go ahead and get into the week of work here in Indianapolis, talking about some football. And just start off the top, what does this week look like for you and for the scouting staff in general?
It's a pretty busy week. It's condensed in pretty, and it just kind of escalates as the week goes on. I mean, you jump right in, you go in, we have a director's meeting where you figure out where the teams are lined up on the 40-yard dash. Jeff Foster goes through the things that have changed. So we have that meeting. Then you go to dinner, and then it's right into player interviews from 7 to 11. Then you hotel, Next morning, another meeting, juniors meeting about the juniors coming out by NFS, and then interviews. But then, so at night we do our interviews. This morning we did some interviews. We're breaking it up with the special teams workout this afternoon. Go back and do more interviews till 11 tonight. Start back up in the morning, interview in the morning, workout, interviews at night. So this isn't there's no rest. Yeah, it's not a rest for the weary in this time of year here. So,
in your perspective, how has all of that, social media, NIL, changed your job in this process?
It's keeping kids in school that should be staying in school. Sometimes these guys would come out early in the draft and be like 5th, 6th round picks because they wanted to test it. But now they're getting a little money, something to take care of their family, and they're staying in and becoming better football players and becoming better prepared for the next level. So I think it's really helped our industry in that aspect because the kids aren't as risky and you know what you're getting. It's just, you're maturing as a human and their body's maturing, staying another year. And I mean, if everybody could go back and get another year of college, all would have helped us. So on our end, I think it's been very good. And
then with regards to the scouting staff, I feel like I've been here for 5 years. I've gotten to know a few of you guys, and the faces don't really change a lot, man. There's a lot of continuity on that staff. What does that continuity and those long-lasting relationships do to ease the process for all you guys?
With our group, our group works extremely hard, is very professional. I mean, we go above and beyond in background, talking to coaches. Chris really stresses that, so that's something I think our staff is almost elite with. What's most important is having the same coaching staff in because you learn to scout the kind of players they want for their schemes because everybody knows certain coaches have different schemes, different type players, body types. So coaching continuity is very important. As long as the coaches are the same, it makes our job really easy.
So it sounds like there's a pretty good level of collaboration there. I'm sure Mike and Anthony too, is for that matter, come in and kind of say, this is what I'm looking for, and you guys can kind of go off of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we talk to them. I mean, they'll show us, videos of what they're looking for from this 5 technique or this third down back. So that helps us a lot because then you go into a school and you're like, You won't like that guy. You won't like that guy. They'll love this guy. And then that's why we sit in these interviews, or, we learn about these kids. So we know the kind of person that's going to need to learn Mike's offense, because it's not for the faint of heart.
Sure.
It's you got to be intelligent football wise. So that's important for us to know, and this whole process is just one of the factors.
Like Malik was kind of a guy that was able to pick things up pretty quickly as a
strong
rookie.
Character, Northwestern kid, and then over to Virginia, very smart, hard worker. So that's a no-brainer as far as the makeup of the individual.
He did the podcast, and it didn't take me more than 2 questions to see what he was all about. It's
Right.
pretty. It happens pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Last one for you here. What is your favorite part about the combine? What do you enjoy most about coming to Indianapolis?
So I've been in the NFL close to be my 25th or 26th combine. I think you just know so many people. Like, some of my closest friends are now from scouting, are general managers of teams, or whatever, executives with the teams, and you just see them over the years, and you're really close with them. There, you're closer than some of your relatives. So it's just, and you don't see them all the time. You only see them at the Senior Bowl or the Combine or things like that. So it's just the relationships, especially the coaches. A lot of the coaches I don't see on the road during the fall or at the Senior Bowl, but you see a lot of coaching people that you've known for years and years and years. You just catch up. That's basically it's the people part of it.
It's literally the exact same thing for me and media folks here. It's like a little reunion of sort with all my buddies that come out here to this thing every single year. Co-director of player personnel, Adam Ingroff. We appreciate your time today, man. Thank you so much.
No problem. Always glad to sit here and visit football.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Lunch all done. Social Cantina hits the spot every single year. And actually, if you go across the street right here, you really don't have to venture very far to find your dinner, because 2 of the best steakhouses, in my opinion, in the entire country exist right here. Harry and Izzy's is actually a sister restaurant to St. Elmo's Steakhouse, which, famous since 1902, has the famous shrimp cocktail, which it's kind of a tradition in Indianapolis to be a little bit sick, a little under the weather. It's cold out here, you're outside, riding your scooter around, cold air in the face. If you want to clear up your sinuses a little bit, the shrimp cocktail takes care of that, and no problem. And also, don't get a well-done steak at these 2 places. And something else about Harry and Izzy's, if you get real close, you listen real closely, you can hear coaches, GMs, decision makers making some backroom dealings about free agency and the draft. This is where it all goes down. It's hard to say in Indianapolis. Indianapolis. Here on Capitol Ave in downtown Indianapolis, right outside the Indiana Convention Center, where the scouting combine has come to a close for us here on Dolphins HQ. You're gonna see players doing their practice 40 times in the hallways. You got fans in there asking for autographs. Interviews are happening in there. This is where the entire NFL is focused for the entire week. And then right across the street here, Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Dolphins will play a game this year on the road. So we'll be back here later sometime this year. As for this episode of Dolphins HQ, that is a wrap. Check us out on the Dolphins YouTube channel on Thursdays this offseason, every other Thursday, and the Drive Time podcast 3 times a week. We'll see you guys next time. Fins up. Thanks for joining us.